That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Conjuring Last Rites, the 9th film in the Conjuring universe, the 4th film directed by Michael Chaves, which New Line Cinema released September 5th, 2025.
Do I know a Michael Chaves film?
Yeah, he has worked exclusively as a director within the Conjuring universe. The Curse of La Llorona was his first film. He also did The Nun 2, and the last Conjuring film, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Okay. What is The Conjuring Last Rites about? Ed and Lorraine Warren investigate the terrifying Smurl haunting of 1986, confronting violent demonic forces while grappling with family bonds, faith, and legacy. Their daughter Judy joins as the Warrens face one final perilous exorcism. What is your pull quote?
Oh, what a Smurl, that last name. The moral of the final demonic adventure of Ed and Lorraine Warren is, like all of its transparent predecessors, a simple one. Face your fears. Unfortunately, it's a protracted sojourn to Satan, getting to the last point of the Conjuring's pentagram, when perhaps the power of something concise would have compelled us.
Mine. A suitable send-off, perhaps, but The Conjuring Last Rites is overlong, overcrowded, and too light on scares to resurrect its demon hunters. I was cool on this one.
Same. Maybe for the first half hour, I'm like, oh, I don't mind this so much, but yeah.
We reviewed the first film today for the podcast, so I rewatched it yesterday, The Conjuring, the 2013 film, and that was actually my third time watching it. I don't know how a movie I find so mid I've watched 3 times. But this, I mean, I guess for a franchise that I'm not super impressed with, I mean, I guess I'm glad it's ending. Although I feel like we're going to get another one with Judy.
There will be more Annabelle films for sure. Yes, the universe will continue. I think we've just laid Ed and Lorraine to rest.
The structure of this film feels very familiar after watching the first one. But for this film, the basic story is it starts in 1964 and we see a young Ed and Lorraine who are played by different actors. They're not de-aged.
Thankfully.
And they're investigating a mysterious mirror at an antique shop. And Lorraine sort of has this like vision or connection to the mirror. It's also important to know she's very pregnant with Judy. And she feels like whatever spirit was in that mirror is trying to get her daughter.
The man in the mirror?
It also induces premature labor. And we see that Judy is stillborn. But thanks to Lorraine's thoughts and prayers, she's resurrected. So, of course, her daughter's like a miracle to her. Then we fast forward 22 years to 1986, and we meet the Smurl family. And they're living in Pennsylvania. There are 8 of them in this tiny-ish 2-story home. And one of the daughters, for her communion...
Her first communion.
She's gifted this same ugly-ass mirror from her grandfather. And then, like every movie like this, weird things start happening to the point where it gets like media attention.
Yes.
The priest from the first film,
Father Gordon?
he's all up in these people's Kool-Aid and decides to go visit them in Pennsylvania, outside of the church, outside of the Warrens, because the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine, who are of course played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they're kind of like semi-retired.
Yes.
Because Ed has health issues and the doctor says he needs to keep his pressure down.
Demons are bad for the blood pressure, let me tell you.
So the priest goes, and then of course the demon affects the priest and he ends up dying. And Judy, throughout the film, is having these visions. And when she finds out the father has died, the priest who went to be nosy, she decides to go out there to see what was up. And that's what drags Ed and Lorraine to Pennsylvania, because they want to get their daughter. They witness what's going on, they decide to help. Then it's very similar to the first movie where they kind of move in and try to figure out what to do. Although this go round, Ed, who has told us and other characters before, not only in this movie, but like the first one, that removing the object housing the demon is not enough. But in this movie, he decides they're going to remove the mirror and bring it back to their haunted antiques museum in their basement.
In the middle of the night during an encroaching thunderstorm.
But during that process, Judy is possessed. She almost dies, but they end up using their
spiritual connection, their spiritual lifeline.
It's not very clear what they think they're doing, but whatever they did, it worked.
Hey.
And the demon's released, and the Smurl family can go back to having a normal life. And then Judy has a fiance, Tony, who's played by
Ben Hardy of Unicorn.
And I liked him.
Yeah.
Although I liked his character. I do think that storyline adds like 15, 20 minutes to the movie, and we don't need any more time. But he and Judy get married, so we see the wedding. We see some familiar faces.
Yes, Lily Taylor pops up and some other folks from
the second and third film.
Yep, from all of them.
So they make cameos at the wedding.
They all came to the wedding.
And there's a really nice moment where Lorraine tells Ed, I had a vision. And at first she says like it's a scary thing, but then she spends a few minutes explaining like, I saw our future and it's lovely. We're going to be grandparents. We're going to continue to enjoy life and help people, even if it's only over the phone. And then the film ends.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they go off riding on a motorcycle like Miguel and Mariah.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if we get Ed and Lorraine in future movies.
It'll be like Meryl Streep in Mamma Mia 2, where she comes back as a ghost.
Well, because we're told they've had thousands of cases, so I'm sure that maybe we'll focus on, or I don't know, maybe Judy and Tony will pick up where the parents left off.
Ostensibly, we could have thousands of films.
I guess. Okay, so I mentioned that there's some familiar beats.
Oh, yeah.
With this film and the first one. Mm-hmm. The opening, where we sort of get this side story that relates to...
Well, this is like, what did I say? Maxine Nightingale. They get right back to where they started from.
Yeah, because in the first film, we're introduced to the Annabelle doll, which to the audience is supposed to help us understand what the Warrens, get up to. And in this film, we're fully introduced to the object we're focused on, which is the mirror. Mm-hmm. So Lorraine, when she finally goes to visit the family who's being haunted, she immediately senses that there's something wrong, almost exactly like the first film. She also has a premonition about Judy. In the first film, there's the scene where she sees her daughter like drowning in the lake, and then tells her husband, Ed, there's something wrong with our daughter. And in this film, she has a premonition involving a garbage disposal and some blood. And then again tells her husband, Ed, I think there's something wrong with Judy.
Like the domestic version of the bloody quarter of The Shining.
We also get a scene in both films where they want to ask the church for help, but it's unsuccessful. So the Warrens have to act alone. And
we also get this overcrowded family that the screenwriters, because we have some returning screenwriters here, including David Leslie Johnson-McGoldrick, the script can't characterize the family correctly, so it's just chaos. Like all these people packed into this house like the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, in the first family, they were these downtrodden people. There were 7 of them. Mom, dad, and 5 daughters. And the dad's a truck driver. It seems like they're hard up for money. And in this film, there are 8 people in this house. Several daughters, grandparents, mother-in-law.
Multi-gen.
Yeah. And it's also made clear that they're sort of downtrodden. Wow. Which I think is funny because part of why I think The Exorcist worked for me is the mother, Ellen Burstyn, she's rich. So I think it kind of added an extra layer of like, she can't be...
They're not exempt from demons.
Well, that she must be telling the truth. Like someone like her wouldn't be... Well, because it's also like people who see or claim they're abducted by aliens. It's never like some research scientist or some like English literature professor. It's always like... some podunk person.
Well, yeah, and I feel like ignorance, like there are some other explanations besides the demon.
I'm just going to start going through my notes. Mother Smurl, played by Rebecca Calder. I thought that lady looked just like Courtney Cox.
I thought the same too, but if Courtney Cox was doing a very fragile Mia Farrow impression.
I liked her.
She's
Again,
fine.
Part of my problem is it feels like there are 2 movies here. There's a movie about the Warrens and their daughter and the daughter's connection to, because it's made clear that Judy, who plays Judy, by the way?
Mia Tomlinson. Judy.
She shares the same powers her mom does, like I guess as a clairvoyant.
Judy has, like many Stephen King novels, the child has the same gifts presumably as the mother, she's seeing things, which I think explains why we get so many insertions of Annabelle.
Oh, let's jump to that, because I feel like the screenwriters felt like they had to include Annabelle since that's such a popular figure. But the way it plays out, we reviewed a movie called Imaginary.
Imaginary, yes.
About this like possessed or demonic teddy bear and the black stepmama who's really riding for her little 2 white stepkids. And there's a scene where this teddy bear like gets big like a monster. And we have a very similar scene in this film with the Annabelle doll that I thought was very corny.
Yes.
But what I was going to say is, it feels like there are 2 movies. You have the Warrens with their daughter and the daughter's connection to the mother's power and maybe how she's going to carry the torch. And then you have a movie like The Conjuring, which is just this family having a very similar issue. Except in this film, because there's so much going on, I feel like, because in the first movie, we know that we know all about the demon. Bathsheba, she was a witch from the 1800s. She sacrificed her baby to the devil, hung herself in the yard, and cursed anyone who occupied her land. In this one, Lorraine does say, oh, there are 3 spirits here who are evil.
Yeah, some Lizzie Borden shit went down.
Exactly. But something about this is different because they are just like a facade. There's something more malevolent behind it, which is laughable. Because the way it plays in this film is she visits the house and then we immediately cut to her outside talking to Ed.
On the porch, yeah.
On the porch. And she's like, yep, 3 demons. One was a abusive husband with an axe, and then the mother and the blah, blah, blah.
This was farmland, but it's like we get so many aerial shots of these houses all stuck together. It's like
like these tract homes that are very close together.
Those ghosts are only haunting the one basement in this house.
I thought that was kind of a dumb plot point.
Again, like how Lorraine must have lost her powers by the time, because she's so clearly missing obvious things. Because when they show up at the house and finally agree to stay, and Patrick Wilson is interviewing them, there's so many details this family leaves out, i.e. this goddamn mirror that's up in the attic that has already been destroyed. We've seen it destroyed. How did it reappear? Did the family put it up in the attic? Did it just miraculously migrate up there? And then they have video footage of a demon with the mirror in the background, and the fact that she sees that mirror, connects it to what happened when she went into labor, and she still doesn't realize, like, oh, this thing's probably trying to get my daughter.
Yeah, there are dots not connected within the film regarding the details of the haunting.
The devil's in the details.
Okay. So Ed and this damn, haunted museum he keeps in his home.
I said it's like his Criterion collection. The Criterion closet.
At this point, it's laughable because we see, the first time we meet Tony, Judy's boyfriend, he comes to Ed's birthday party. The vibe of that scene is very different from the rest of the movie. It's not bad, but it just feels like we're watching an entirely different movie.
Well, yeah, because we get a ping pong tournament set to David Bowie's Let's Dance.
We get a prolonged scene with Tony asking for Judy's hand in marriage that was lovely. I feel the same way I felt about the first film. Vera Farmiga, I think, does the best with...
Yeah, I think she understands the assignment. She knows the tone that it's going for, and she kind of works well within it.
But at this birthday party, we see Ed giving a tour of all the haunted objects. And I just think he is too loose with these objects. Because he takes pains to say, they're protected, that they're here. We take all these measures. He tells everyone don't touch anything. Why are you even letting people in here? Shouldn't this be a secret hiding place?
Well, yeah. And then I think it's also about letting go in the fact that he's having a hard time aging. There's several instances where someone refers to him as an old man and he kind of balks at it.
Which I didn't quite understand why we needed that.
Well, his health has hobbled him, but the other thing is Patrick Wilson is in pretty damn good shape and doesn't seem like, there's a scene in a restaurant where he can't even have lasagna. And it's I think Patrick Wilson looks like he could eat that.
But getting back to the haunted artifacts collection, why is Judy being haunted by Annabelle if Annabelle's locked up and safe?
Yeah, she's in her little curio cabinet.
Which leads me to my next thought is the way these supernatural things appear in the film. As as if they're happening in an alternate reality. It feels very much to me like The Further in the Insidious films.
Also originated by James Wan.
But it's never really explained. I don't recall from the first film. Like in the first film, it seems like what's happening to them is like everyone can see it. But in this film, we have several examples where something bad happens and it's only in the person's mind. So then it's like, oh, is Judy, like, I don't understand if she's mentally ill or she's actually having visions or being haunted by the Annabelle doll. Like,
the mother and daughter are mentally ill and father is an enabler, diagnosed.
Also, the main thing driving the Warrens to the Smurls, because they're semi-retired, they weren't hired to be there. They went there to go get their daughter. The main thing that has pulled them there is the fact that their daughter is there. And what got the daughter there is that she says, something's been calling me, which goes back to the opening of the film where this entity sort of, Lorraine says she felt the entity in her belly with the baby.
Yes.
Don't you feel like we should have had more time with maybe Judy? Because it kind of reminded me of, or I was thinking like Nosferatu, the new version.
With Lily Rose.
Where he's calling to her. I kind of feel like that would have made sense to have more of that.
Or my mind just went to Sleeping Beauty, how she's fated to get gobbled up by this demon.
We get a scene. There are creepy moments.
I think I think the first half hour of the film is decent, and I think the birthing scene where you see the demon crawling in from the ceiling and the stillbirth is effective. But again, that kind of, they don't really connect the dots there.
Well, and the runtime betrays it all because they feel few and far between.
Yes.
If this were at least 20 minutes shorter, I think those moments would have had more impact.
Yes. And I don't believe that these are the last rites. I kept thinking, I wanted it to be called The Conjuring, never back down, never surrender.
So the fiance, Tony, we find out that he used to be a cop. Again, I feel like we learn a lot about Tony, and I don't think we need to, unless there's going to be another movie where he's more prominent, so this is giving us some background. But when we first meet him, the audience, we find out that he's in between jobs. The priest asks, like, oh, well, I mean, what did you do?
You're a little young to be retired.
You're young to be a retired cop. Well, it's a long story. I don't want to talk about it. But we find out that he had a near-death experience in the line of duty. And so I thought this was corny because he goes, like my life flashed before my eyes, and I realized that if I would have died, I never would have been able to have a future with your daughter. Which I thought like gagged me with a spoon. You barely even know this girl, but okay.
Right.
And because he said he bought the wedding ring a week after he met her?
Yes.
Okay, so if he bought the ring a week after he met her, when he relays the story about quitting his job, he says he quit his job and went and bought the ring. So you not having a future with this girl you've known for 6 days is like, why? I don't know. I just thought that was not well done.
I agree.
Okay, learning how to face your fears. So because we get a montage of Judy growing up, and then we see throughout the film that Lorraine tells her daughter, you need to learn how to suppress these visions. And then they have this thing where they recite a nursery rhyme.
It's her mantra.
Lucy Lockett lost her pocket, and that's how she kind of blocks the visions. But in the end, Lorraine realizes she was wrong and that you actually have to face those demons, like literally, because we're in the middle of a possession. And so she just tells her, you need to face them. And then they both touch the mirror, and then I guess the demon vanishes.
The laying of the hands, yes.
All of these movies are the same.
Yes.
They always end the same way.
The demonic dissipation is just like, oh, why don't we just start with that?
The only thing this movie didn't do that the rest usually do is usually at the very end, after we think everything's all good, something happens where it's like, oh, there's still a demon. But I guess in this universe, there will always be demons. We don't need to keep the old one. Although we did repeat the Annabelle doll, and we never learned who the more malevolent demon is behind.
The creepy woman that is controlling.
She looks like a creepy woman, so is that supposed to be Bathsheba?
I don't, it's just so inconsequential, but it's like, this is the case that brought the Warrens to their knees at last because this was the final one.
Yeah.
But then they were still doing telephone consultations.
When Judy gets to the house, she's already been experiencing really weird things. She's very familiar with this world. It's not like she's new to experiencing demons and whatnot. So she gets to the house and she knows something bad is there. And then some voice is calling her to the attic. And I just couldn't believe her dumbass went up there. Doesn't she know this is a setup?
Sounds about right. Yeah, well, it's one of those, because there's two little twin girls and she thinks it's one of them, but it's like...
You should know... Your parents are the Warrens, girl. Come on.
There are 8 residents, and your parents are also there. Get some backup.
And she sees dead people.
Right. Like, let's go. Also, how have Ed and Lorraine not been in the attic yet? And also, that attic, this family needed to redo that attic.
I don't understand how no one knew the mirror was up there, or we don't talk about it. Because we go to great lengths to see the mirror get thrown out on trash day. We see the people collecting it, throwing it in the back of the truck. It gets smashed. And then 90 minutes later, it's like, oh, there's the mirror again.
And at the smashing of the mirror, one of the elder daughters vomits up blood in chunks of broken mirror that makes she has to go to the hospital. And it's like, that's some pretty major internal damage.
Trauma.
But she seems just fine after that.
Okay, another topic I want to bring up is the Warrens don't seem very religious, but it also seems like all of their ammunition comes from the Word of God or something.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So don't they seem they seem a little too secular to me. I would think they would be like full-on soldiers for Christ. But when in fact, whenever Ed has to say anything like scripture, he seems so bored by it, like this is dumb.
We've seen the most basic things as well, and in the finale, he's like tells Lorraine to get the book, and is the book the Bible? Because then he just opens the book and starts reciting the most banal shit.
It's like King James for Dummies is what he's reading. That also reminded me of what's the movie where Angela Bassett says "hit the bricks."
Let's Meet the Browns, I believe, directed by Tyler Perry.
Yeah, he says get the book, like we know what the book is. I don't know if it was in the second or third film. It's not in the first film.
I don't understand how he doesn't have that memorized. But...
Well, it's so basic, and then it's like, it looks like a Bible, it's big like a Bible, and what he was saying had religious connotations, just very basic. So then it's like, does this man have like a bunch of spells that he recites? There was no explanation as to what that book was, what he thinks he's doing. And then in the first film, there's a point made that I don't have my certification to do exorcisms, but he does one anyway and it works. Mm-hmm. In this one, he performs an exorcism on the fly.
Oh yeah, he's like, I got this. I know.
And also seems real bored reading the words.
I'll pay the fine later from the church. Also, when Father Gordon dies, I was kind of struck by, I guess the Catholics just, they have set themselves up to be trapped by the devil because there's a doorknob with crosses on it, and we see one of the doorknobs turn upside down and stay like an upside down cross. But anytime you open that door, it's going to be an upside down cross. So I don't know. Doesn't that seem like a foolish place to put the crosses?
Okay, when in the finale, Judy's possessed, she's in a bad way, and it looks like she's going to die. So Ed starts performing CPR on his daughter. But two things were funny because we know Ed has heart problems, and he had some medication he takes, which I'm assuming was nitro. And so he drops all the pills. So of course he's in panic. And then he is performing CPR, and then he has another like cardiac incident. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was funny that, can you imagine watching your husband die while trying to perform CPR on your daughter?
Yes.
That'd be so dramatic.
That would, as you're laughing.
The other thing, but the other thing that caught me is Tony has to take over. So he's doing the compressions, trying to keep his fiance alive, and she finally resuscitates. And what is the first thing out of Lorraine's mouth? Thank you, God. If I were Tony, I would have taken my compressions back.
Lorraine, clearly I put
thank you to me. Say thank you to me first, please.
It was me.
Okay, so in the end, after everything's all good, we get the corniest scene where the Warrens are standing out front of the Smurls, and the Smurls are all standing there looking real satisfied, and the Warrens are just looking up like, They're satisfied. And then we cut to the wedding where we get all the cameos and the lovely premonition of the future. And then I forgot to mention that Ed and Tony end up in the haunted artifacts room. And Ed gives Tony the keys. Like he's inherited
You're part of the family now.
Which of course makes me think that, we mentioned this in the Conjuring review, but it's relevant here too, that the comedian Matt Rife with a business partner purchased the property that the museum's on, and so he's going to be the caretaker for the next 5 years, which I find funny. But, you know, I'm sure the timing of it was for this movie to announce that they did it.
Sure.
And then my final note for this film is the same note I had for the first film. How do they make money?
Those cars look pretty nice.
They seem to have a nice lifestyle. Doesn't the father of the bride pay for the wedding?
That birthday party, a lot of meat on the barbecue.
Where are they getting money from? The Catholic Church doesn't seem to support them.
No, they seem to be quite at odds with them.
And all the people they help seem low budget, so they're not giving them anything but like leftovers. So yeah, how do they pay their bills? We see them going on like a tour, like talking at a college campus, and there are maybe like 5 people in attendance.
And this is 1986, so Ghostbusters is at the tip of everyone's tongue.
Anyway, what would you give The Conjuring Last Rites?
2. I mean, I'm a bit tired of the Warrens.
I think the production is better than the first one, because, you know, 12 years have passed. And I do think that the story, there is a lot more going on. I just don't think it's very well done.
No, it's formula. It's wash, rinse, repeat.
So to me, I guess it's a wash. I would give it the same score I gave the first one, which is that it's okay. 2.5 out of 5. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.